He's so sad. It raises the question, who exactly are these people? A roving correspondent for the National Review, Kevin Williamson, writes, they like to think of themselves as alpha males, as though they were living in a chimpanzee troop. But it never occurs to them to consider their own status as rejects and failed men in that context. Aww. Kurt Bardella is a former spokesman for Breitbart News, which Steve Bannon called a platform for the so-called alt-right, the people who organized the Charlottesville rally. He joins me now. So, Kurt, you know, this Kevin Williamson article was pretty hilarious. He said, you know, what do these young, angry white guys want? Dates. They want girlfriends. They can't get them, and that's why they're doing this. Is that what is the animating sort of thing bringing all these alt-right guys together? Because it doesn't seem to be actual toughness.
No, I think it's a cast of a bunch of, frankly, social losers who have been ostracized by their own social circles, who, like you said, they're very frustrated. And instead of looking inward at some of the issues that they probably have, it's much easier and convenient for them to band together, blame the rest of the world for why they're not as successful or popular as they think that they should be. And they come together, they feed off one another, and find a sense of purpose and community. It's in a lot of ways, it's why I think a lot of folks join gangs, because of circumstances in their own environment. They find a sense of purpose and meaning where they didn't have that before. And that's what you're seeing with some of these alt-right groups and these communities that form of hate, because ultimately they were the ones that feel that they were ostracized. It's unfair. They're looking for somebody to blame. And along the way comes platforms like Breitbart, people like Steve Bannon and President Trump, to tell them that you're right. These people are to blame. They are the problem. It's not your fault. There's huge injustices going on, and it's right that you feel this way.
And, you know, of course, cowards can still be dangerous, as we know, and we've seen from Columbine to Dylan Roof and on and on and on, that the cowardice doesn't necessarily mean they're not dangerous. They did manage, one of them managed to kill someone. But it is interesting that when confronted directly one-on-one, they're not nearly as tough as they are behind the wheel of a car when they can plow into a bunch of people. Here is one of these young alt-righters who came in for the march, but wasn't down for the confrontation. Take a look.
What's up? I'm not really white power, man. I just came here for the fun. Nah, I'm sorry.
I mean, the swiftness with which he took off his costume, as the cameraman so aptly said, and said, no, 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 I'm not really about this. Are they also attracting people who just want to be in it for the laughs and who think it's a great idea, but who may not even really believe the underlying ideology?
Oh, sure. I think there's no question that a lot of these, frankly, younger kids have no idea what they're getting themselves into. They have no idea what these people actually stand for. They're not ideologues. They're not that politically sophisticated. They're not that engaged. They hear that something's going on. They want to be a part of the attention, the confrontation. They think it's going to be something that's going to be all over the news or Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram. It's a moment that they want to try to be a part of. And it sounds all great and glamorous until you're there, and all of a sudden it gets very, very real in their face, and they're the very first to flee.
Yeah, and of course, if we put up the poster, you know, they should know what they're dealing with. When you saw the poster that invited them to come down, it was all Nazi images, Nazi propaganda, and we know that now that people sort of know what they're about. University of Florida has now canceled the Richard Spencer event because they've been bragging about violence. Have they now shot themselves in the foot by being so braggadocious about being violent?
Well, I think we'll find out. You know, coming up, I know in Boston they're talking about having another gathering, we'll politely call it, over the weekend. You know, whether or not what we saw last weekend in Charlottesville will have an effect of either inspiring even more people to feel like it's okay to come out and showcase this kind of hatred and vitriol, or whether people will shake their heads and go, wow, I didn't realize it was this bad. Time will tell about that. You know, I fear that the president's remarks and his reaction to this certainly sends a signal to people that it's okay, that it's time to come out. You don't need to wear hoods. You don't need to cover yourself up, that you should be out there loud and proud.
Well, and also, but you will be unmasked on Twitter. That's another thing that they've learned throughout this process. Kurt Bardella, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Joy.
Thank you. And still